confused with Dylan's.
No. This is more about the Titanic, wasn't it?
Yeah. Hi, welcome to the 13th floor. I'm Marty Duda. Today we have Paul McLaney with us. Hey, Paul.
Good,
how's
thank
it
you.
going?
Pretty good, thank
So
you.
you got something a little special happening, this play on thing.
Yeah, it's a musical setting of Shakespeare's, some of Shakespeare's more renowned soliloquies, speeches,
Right.
as opposed to what's been done in the past. With, a lot of people have done the sonnets, and a lot of the songs obviously have been set multiple times for various productions. But yeah, this seems to be a bit of a first in some regards.
So were there, as opposed to just writing songs around existing or with a lyricist, was there anything particularly out of the ordinary?
Just the overwhelmingly daunting task of taking on Shakespeare.
There is that.
No, it's one of those. In many ways, it's it's this sort of sacred. For me, that the Godhead is the Beatles, Shakespeare, and Beethoven, and everything else sort of comes through that. So if you're gonna, it'd be like covering Imagine.
Right.
I wouldn't do that.
Right.
I saw a great version by David Bowie the other day, though.
I've seen that.
On a tangent, it'll be the first of many, I'm sure. How it came about was I was doing a gig up in Kerikeri off the back of a Diamond Side record, which was a very sort of open tuning, Bert Yancey, sort of John Rambo, Nick Drake, John Martin, that whole Witch Season thing, which I just adore. And I especially love that collision that happened around about 69 to 71 of like when the jazzers got involved with the folkies. So like when what's his name, the bass player, Danny Thompson, and that whole crowd, and Joe Boyd and all that stuff. And I was doing a gig up there, and Ian Yoon, the director, came along, and he said, "Oh, I think there's something very madrigal-esque about what you're doing. Have you considered like setting some Shakespeare texts?" And I said, "Well, as we were talking about before, I wasn't really into Hey Nonny Nonny and all that sort of stuff." But he said, "Well, and the sonnets have been done." He said, "Well, what about the speeches?" And it sort of set a real seed in my head, and it went from there. And I sat down with a friend, Peter Elliott, who's another Shakespeare buff, and we sort of picked out about 10 to 15 sort of speeches of that caliber, and I sat down, and the main thing was I actually changed my entire writing process, because you want to be so faithful and get that stuff so right that and you're not really contained by the structure of verse, chorus, bridge, what have you. You just want to set whatever the mood of that particular bit of text is, in the right harmonic space. And like some of the ones like from Macbeth are almost like Radiohead or Arvo Pärt sort of sounding things, because you want them to be unsettling and creepy in their chromatic movements, and going from C minor to B minor,
Right.
Then something like Quality of Mercy, or what's another, like All the World's a Stage, which I call Seven Ages of Man. They're more your traditional sort of almost folk. I was in those songs, I was thinking of things like She Moves Through the Fair, and in many ways I was trying to convince myself that I was remembering the songs rather than composing them, like some sort of deep blood memory or something.
Right.
And that's my heritage, is British, and obviously within music I have a lot of respect for the folk tradition, and so I was trying to I was trying to trick myself into remembering them. And so something like Quality of Mercy sounds like a hymn to me, whereas something like She Should Have Died Hereafter, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow from Macbeth just sounds like Radiohead should probably have a crack at it.
Yeah. They're probably remembering it as well when they're writing their own songs. So yeah. And so we'll talk about the actual production of the thing in a minute, but we're going to hear you perform one of the now existing songs, Deeds of Mercy.
Yeah.
We can just to give a little background to that.
Well, this is Portia's speech to Shylock in The Merchant of Venice. What's really interesting about this too is a big motivation for this was around the same time that Shakespeare was being removed from the syllabus of a lot of schools, and I was lucky enough to have a great English teacher, a series of great English teachers actually, who really turned me on to Shakespeare. A guy called Mr. Mac. It wasn't Dead Poet Society, but it wasn't that far off. He used to cry when he's reading the speeches, and he'd go, "Fuck, that's good." And you go, "Oh, is it?" I've got to figure out why it's so good. And so it was to make them accessible to an audience perhaps who might not normally think Shakespeare's for them. And so, say if I was going to ask someone like Jennifer Ward Leland, who's a fantastic singer, an actress, to sing Portia's speech from The Merchant of Venice, she probably would have a hard time dislocating herself from the idea of being Portia and performing it in that way.
Right.
Like with Macy Rika, who will be performing this, we've talked about almost like anti-war sentiment in this thing. There's a contentious line in there because she's addressing Shylock, therefore Jew, if justice be thy plea, you know, and I think she's taking some sort of Israel-Palestine sort of view of it, you know. Just, you know, that mercy is a quality that we should all enforce. And similarly with Esther, well, she'll be doing Hamlet, you know, so a woman doing Hamlet's quite interesting. Once you turn them into bite-sized pieces and songs and just concentrate on the lyricism, I mean, the most beautiful words ever written.
Right.
You can really play with those gender roles as well.
Okay, well, let's give it Deeds of Mercy a listen, and we'll come back and talk some more.
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed, it blesseth him that gives, and him that takes 'tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. Mercy is above this sceptred sway. It is enthroned in the heart of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. An earthly power doth then show likest God's, when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should seek salvation. We do pray for mercy, and that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy.
All right, we're back with Paul McLaney, and we're talking Shakespeare. We're talking Play On, which is happening at the Pop-Up Globe on Sunday, April 3rd. And so, even though we're hearing you sing these two pieces today, it's going to be a whole cast of other people that are going to be performing.
Yeah,
Who
as I
have you
say,
got on board here?
we got the ladies first. Macy Rika, Julia Deans, Esther Stevens, Lawton Cora, Mara TK, and Cameron Rhodes. So yeah, you know, it's a nice collision. I mean, all of those performers are fantastic interpreters of song, or fantastic. You know, if anybody saw Julia and Brel, would, you know, or both sides now, you know, can attest to that. And obviously, Esther and Lawton and Cameron, and you know, those guys have, you know, great, massive acting chops, and that whole background, Toifakare and what have you. And Cameron is probably more recognised as an actor than he is as a performer, but you know, that's why he gets Lear. He gets King Lear. But yeah, as I say, the idea is to make it accessible, and I think sometimes people think, oh, it's this ivory tower stuff that isn't really for them. But I think, you know, if you're a Marilyn Manson fan, then if you're reading Lady Macbeth's speech about, you know, having a womb ripped out, that's a bit heavier than anything that Marilyn Manson ever gets anywhere near. So separates the men from the boys for sure.
And we were talking about how these lyrics definitely sound like they should have been picked up by some prog rock band from the 70s.
Yeah, I don't know why Peter Gabriel didn't do it. But no, I mean, the ache of that sort of poetry, I mean, his sort of adventures into the human state, there's just never been matched. I mean, there's a reason we're sitting here 400 years later talking about Shakespeare and not Christopher Marlowe or any of his contemporaries, you know. And I think, you know, I hope that he would be into this. And when I first started doing it, some people say, "Oh no, you can't do Shakespeare. You know, you can do lesser poets." You know.
Right.
I do Tennyson or something, you know, and less Tennyson's pretty good. And you know, because you'll never match the quality. And I said, well, maybe I won't, but we won't know for 400 years.
Right, this is true.
I'll give it a crack. You know, you shouldn't do things out of fear of not succeeding.
Yeah. So the second one we're going to hear is from The Tempest.
Yeah, Our Revels Now Are Ended. It's basically the Tempest is widely sort of seen as Shakespeare saying goodbye to his audience. It was like his retirement.
Right.
Like, he did co-write a few things after that, but it was really him sort of bowing out and saying, you know, and that speech in particular it's a beautiful man at the end of his life, just saying, you know, look, none of this is, we just, you know, we disappear into thin air. It's all dreams, and we don't inherit anything. All the palaces, all the temples, they all dissolve, and life goes on. And so it's a beautiful sentiment.
So what is on the day when these are being done, are you going to be performing any of these?
I'm playing so there's a string trio, acoustic guitar, upright bass, drums. So very much like an album I did called Eden.
Right.
So this sort of came out of that sort of period of time when I was, you know, just immersing myself in Astral Weeks and Wiedenfleece and all that sort of stuff. I really want that pastoral quality to it.
Right.
So I'll be playing in the band, and I am singing a few things here and there. But I really, again, through the performance that we have, you know, it's a real opportunity for people who are fans of their music as well to sort of perhaps, you know, if they're not already aware of Shakespeare. And it's such an amazing venue to do it in. It was the venue coming into Auckland that resurrected the idea. I was looking for the right opportunity at the right time, and then someone built a globe in the middle of Auckland, Miles Gregory, and so I thought, oh, that's fairly good. That's a fairly great moment of synchronicity. So we couldn't not do it with that space, and it's you know, I feel really blessed. Something's telling me that this is the time. So
is this going to be a one-off thing, do you think?
I think, you know, I think this is the birth of it all.
Right.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'm going to birth it into Mother Globe.
We'll see how it goes. So hopefully folks can get out there Sunday, April 3rd, Pop-Up Globe, and we'll leave with you performing a piece from The Tempest we call Into Thin Air. Thanks.
Thanks, Marty.
Our revels now are ended, these are actors. As I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself. Yeah, your witched inherit shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a wreck behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with the sleep. Sir, I am vexed, bear with my weakness. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into myself, and there repose eternal to I'll walk to ease my beating mind.